Let's talk about the COVID restrictions and what we... COVID. Let's talk about COVID restrictions and how it affects and what we heard and what we know. Because we talked about your update, but this one, like, maybe let's slide into how it is in other countries and what you heard and what's up. Because, like, some places been, like, crazy. They've been locked for, like, months and months and months. You know, while you look on Instagram and there's... Even during first lockdown, there was one girl I follow on Instagram and she suddenly posted a tattoo and I got this, like, what the fuck? And it's like, oh, she's in Sweden. Because, like, it's legit.
Yeah.
And there's some places where people work and it's fine, and some places where they don't. And like if you like you said, if you're locked up in your house for a couple months to couple weeks or whatever, like short or long time of period, and you see these guys are having fun while I'm sitting in my four walls, it can be a bit of a downer.
Yeah. I would like to know how people live right now, and if there is, I don't know. Have you heard about some tattooers just quitting their job? Because of all this situation that happened, or they just stopped tattooing that? Because I know a guy who's a hairdresser, for example. He stopped doing his job just because of all this. He's decided, fuck it.
I read on a Facebook page where a guy said he mentioned that Germany is locked down, and people were like, so what are you doing? And he's like, no, I'm fine because I'm part-time engineer and I have work, and that apprenticeship is kind of like, I'm trying. The guys who put all their eggs in one basket, they are fucked. They don't know. I'm considering that Germany is also, their social system or whatever it's called is good because they help people and they give money out. If you're not that lucky and if you're some country where you don't help, that thing where people are like, oh, them scratchers tattooing at home. But I think like in some situations, what's the other option?
Yeah, well, for me, for example, I got some small side works. You know, like doing T-shirt design, or I had to do a design for ice hockey goalie helmet. So I was,
that's cool.
yeah, I was designing that, and that's also, it's like, it's so weird. When I started learning Photoshop, suddenly all these side projects started coming at me, you know?
I noticed many people pushing their prints now and stickers in comparison to tattoo job. How many prints or stickers you have to sell. I mean, yeah, there are some people who sell crazy amounts, but some, if lucky, will sell a t-shirt a week or a print, so...
But man, if you sell, let's say, 5 prints a month, it's the same amount as support from my government, man. So I think it's a good way. And so, for example, you sell 5 prints, 2 t-shirts, something is coming in, you know. The other thing, you have to put it in. You have to have them t-shirts ready, you know, like prints as well. Like I couldn't make print being in a lockdown, so...
On some forums, on some tattoo comments, I read and I'm like, in regular day, I would think, okay, that person is an asshole. But at this point, I think like people's are like, they nerves are on the top end of their capacity, and like, you're like, when you're irritated, someone posts something and you're like, fuck you, that shit, like, and it just sparks this thing. So I think, yeah, people should be tiny bit more careful,
Man,
I guess.
I have I think once you post something bad or evil, or once you post something like that with a bad attitude on Facebook, you are suddenly becoming addicted to that feeling. And you want it more, and you lost your cool,
And also it's that sense that no one's gonna punch you back in the face.
Yeah, and you're just like, yeah, you're like, fuck you, fuck this, look at this shitty tattoo. And this poor guy who is like trying to survive, he might fucking go make suicide because of these fucking comments,
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of that, there was a first gentleman that I know who ended his life, and it's not like we friends, but I worked with him, and I was like, fuck, I didn't know how to feel. But it's like someone who I knew. Yeah, it was recently. I was like, oh my god, this is fucking disgusting feeling.
Yeah.
And it was out of nowhere. It was one of those situations where like, oh, look at this happy guy, and then one day people are like, oh,
fuck,
he's gone.
man. You think it's because of COVID and all that stuff, or you don't know?
I don't know. I'm like, I'm also don't have anyone to ask, and the people I can ask, they're like, yeah, we know only this much, but I don't think the situation helped,
Yeah, for sure.
Like whatever is the reason and all that, but Like this, all this doesn't make people feel better.
Man, I know a guy.
all
I know a guy whose two friends made suicide in England. YouTubers or some type of dudes, and they couldn't handle this change of lifestyle. Suddenly they cannot go to parties. Suddenly they cannot go do these regular things. It's crazy.
Yeah. But imagine like your life is falling apart. You're locked in. You're like, I'm just gonna go on Facebook, and you open your favorite forum, and then there's everybody's just shitting on you. You're like, oh fuck it.
That's the game over, man.
So yeah, I think people have to remember that internet is internet, and
Don't go into
Okay.
Facebook. Don't post some crap and wait when someone's gonna say goodbye. It's risky.
And speaking of that sort of underground tattooing where people are like, suddenly everyone is so responsible, like we don't do that, and I'm like, yeah, we also don't do that because we're fine here in Denmark. There was some situation where somebody was sort of tattooing when there was the first lockdown, and everyone is like, oh, he
Yeah.
like that person should be kicked out of the associations. But then I spoke with one guy from other country who got stuck there as a guest artist. Like he went there, he did his job, and he was about to leave, and everything locked down. And he said like, I stuck with this amount of money in my Airbnb, which I have to pay. Because that owner was not going to give me discount. So like you just wait days, you wait a week, you're like, okay, shit. And then people are writing you, and you're like, you have to think what options you have. He said even to leave the country, he had to figure out some crazy ways. Like what usual would be a plane, he had to take like a ferry to one country, then drive with the bus to the other border, and just do some wild stuff. I don't know what's the other options in those situations. You can say like, oh yeah, you should have paid taxes back in your country, but you should have expect corona or what?
Yeah, there's no way that everyone's gonna get away with a happy ending. It's just how it is. It's like you survive. The strongest or the luckiest survives, you know. You cannot sit home and just wait when it's all gonna be ending. I think the best way is to do something about it. Just have to think and try to survive.
Yeah, lucky are those people who also have like different ways of income. Like, you know, you're like, oh cool, I can tattoo, I'll make more prints. And that thing is, if you have to figure out prints now, how to do from zero, like let's say you never painted a flash sheet, it's could be a tough one, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think they even have a clue where to start.
I mean, yeah, I've seen people stickers, t-shirts. There's an online service, I don't remember, it's called Fiverr or something. And everyone with some skill, oh now it sounds like a sponsored video. But there are those online things, like if you're good with one stuff, you can be like, I'll make you a logo for $5, you know. People can be like, okay, let's try, or let's see, like, I guess you have to have some portfolio there or something, so you're like, okay, it's this, but there's all those online things. I mean, podcasting during lockdown, I'm not talking tattooists, but in general, like, podcasting, you see, like, comedians, all that, like, Joe Rogan type of crowd, like, they podcasting, like, daily. It's crazy.
Yeah, what else can you do?
Yeah, and it's also strange that it's just some places are still working, some places are crazy lockdowns. It can be confusing for people. If you're maybe not the best shop already in a city, don't have enough customers, and then all this happens, and then you don't get support. It's crazy.
Yeah, and people working underground right now, and some of them get caught by police and all other stuff, and get these big fines. We have these. I heard the stories where some random guy sends a message to the shop, and we also got 3 or 4 messages. Like, you look at the message, you're like, no one ever sent something like that. It's like suspicious, you know. You don't does not look right. And then there is these crazy people with the bad savings. They wanna make money underground, and they take everyone who's writing them. And I heard, yeah, a few of them got caught, and it was even worse after that.
From legislation here in Denmark, from what I understand, if you are a home tattooist, you pretty much don't give a fuck. If you have a shop, if you have a license, if you have like a business, you can get in trouble for everything. For like tattooing a minor, tattooing on a neck, not paying taxes, having ink bottle open for too long, like everything is a trouble. But the problem is if you're making money at home. Technically, like you can sell a design in a shop and then tattoo your friend for free at home, like whatever. So that's the tricky part, because like there should be that money transaction. And I talked with one dude from something like Hungary or Bulgaria or something. He's like, ah, no, my shop is just like underground. It was 5 years ago. I was like, are you not scared of police? He's like, well, for it to happen, I have to make a tattoo. They have to pay me money. I have to take the money, and then they bust me. He said, I do only day sessions. So I doubt that policeman is gonna want to sit for all day session, get tattooed in a country like that. So he's like, I don't care. So.
But you think policeman gets that far? You know, I think it's just like from the moment you're in the shop and like signing paper or whatever, sitting on a chair, it's already it. It's already end.
No, I think there's that final thing, because like it has to be a business deal. Otherwise, you just like, you know, I can be like.
So you have to pay for it.
Yeah, and you have to be like, okay, thank you. And I think maybe the fine could be the same as the price of day session. Maybe not that day session, but maybe for police it's just not worth it, you know, to go in and be like, oh, okay.
Well,
it depends on the country. Some countries probably will put you in prison, but there is those situations where it's like there's a lot of talk on tattoo pages in Denmark. People say like, okay, the yearly checkup price is increased. We have to have that weird course, which was actually complete like mess. You go to the course and you just hear everything what you can read on a law. There's nothing different. I didn't learn anything. The previous course was way better. Plus the guy teaches you some hacks where you're like, ha ha ha, we had a joke that you can sell a design and then tattoo at home. It's like, what the fuck, man? It's like, I paid money for this. I want to get something out of it.
Crazy.
Like people were at the end of the course, people were sitting like, oh, come on. And I think somebody just left even before it ended. Yeah, so it's like, as a business owner and tattooist, you are pressured. Like, you have to pay every year fees. There's like a fucking insurances. You have to pay for like transactions. You have to, if you listen to music from radio, you have to pay.
Crazy.
So, you know, all that stuff. But if you're chilling at home, you're just like, fuck it, fuck taxes, fuck this, fuck all the fees, like, you know, fuck the, what it's called, the VAT type of a thing. Right. So it's actually safer to tattoo at home. Like, what they're gonna do to you?
Nothing. So you can do a private studio without papers. Unofficial private studio.
I think that police have to have a reason to get in there. They're not gonna break in because they're like, oh, we know you're tattooing. There has to be like, oh, you are building a bomb.
Yeah.
You have a hostage.
Crazy.
So that's kind of interesting.
What about the prices? I heard the price is going up for gloves. For what else?
Yeah. I first read it in States and I was like, Americans. But now, like, I order from here and from England, and it's 2 to 3 times more expensive. So before you bought a box of gloves and you're like, oh, 500-600 krona. Now you're like 1,000. It's like, oof, a box for 1,000.
So the tattoo prices will go up.
No, but tattoo prices are dropping because there's all the chains sneaking in that have, like, you know, if an average tattoo hour is 800 to 1,000 krona per hour, there will be shops that have apprentice that will do all day session 8 hours for 1,200. And everyone is kind of like, yeah, we have our prices, we have our standards, our minimum charge is like 800 krona or 1,000 krona, and then you go past that shop and there's a note in the window. Today flash for 500. And then you go past next day and that note never disappears. So actually that minimum charge of the strict 1,000 or 500 is suddenly, the little things are suddenly 500. So it's not out of fun, like, you know.
Yeah.
If you count and everything gets more expensive, you have to have certificates, you have to have checkups, you have to have inks that like there's expiry is actually a year after opening, but in Denmark they have to be open half a year, so you have less time on all your inks and prices are dropping. So it's not fun, but I guess that's what happens when those businessy chains start to come in with the what it's called, the price dumping, but also hopefully, in history, often the dumping ends at some point, because it's just like, if you have to tattoo somebody for 1,000 krona for 8 hours, that tattoo will start to not make sense, even because the glove price are up. Like, you will not gonna change gloves the whole day, or you'll start to lose money because you have to. But those are the places that also they don't cover beds, for example. You know, it's not required by the hygiene course. Actually, you can just spray it afterwards, but it just looks disgusting because somebody's been sweating there, and then you are next person who's like,
Yeah, but because of all these prices going up, we are also putting up price. And in Riga, some people put up the price, and it is what it is. We slowly do that, but we are pretty not the most expensive shop in our country, but maybe that's a good thing. We are taking it slowly, but now it's time to put a little bit extra for our charge. You know, I think it's normal to do that if you have a client base. But if a shop is struggling, I totally understand why they dropping the price for like special. It's not that they are charging less for tattoo, they're just making deals, you know.
yeah. And also there was a thing with hairdressers that after reopening, there's those restrictions. You have to have 2 meters in between people. So if you have like a hairdresser, same would apply for tattoo shops, that you have to have some space between people. So if you could fit, like, as a big shop, 8 people, and suddenly you need extra 2 meters in between everyone, you could only have 4 people in at the time. So as a business, you can have less customers. I saw one shop that was like, they posted after reopening, like, you know those shops that like to show those videos of like, look how busy we are, look at this fucking madness. And it was after reopening, when there was all the like restrictions, don't come in with friends, wear a mask and all that. And that was this shop where it was packed, and then somebody's like super proud filming, and it was, yeah, they didn't have any bed covered. There was like fucking, like there would be 4 people behind me at the moment, like it was packed. And I was like, I sent it to some friends, I was like, this looks wrong. And that video was gone next day. I was like, oh, I guess they realized that it's not a good advertisement.
Shit.
During pandemic, being like, look how busy we are.
That's a bad thing, yeah. That's like the lack of knowledge, I guess, or I don't know why. Laziness or what?
I think it's just lack of understanding the real situation. Like, you know, why would you brag? Look how busy we are, when all the state is saying, like, please stay away from each other, you know. Do your thing, and it's all good. Yeah, let's wrap this up. I think for the people, for the tattooists and everyone working in any industry who's looked in, it's just stay strong and find a way how to stay physically and mentally fit, and stay away from bad thoughts.
Yeah. It can be worse. I mean, I hope we can, from here we can just go back up slowly, you know. Just need to wait for a bit.
And for businesses, I would say, like, kind of respect the situation, because you can, like, just be like greedy and like, I'll make all the money now, and then somebody from government or state can look at it and be like, look, these people are crazy, they don't care anything, and it will shut down the whole industry. Like, you know, it needs
for
one.
Tattooing, there is no time for making money now. It's right now you have to sit down, try to spend less money and survive. It's no time to think for making money from tattooing.
I mean, we're working. Denmark is working, but if
some countries are.
But if one shop will make some video again like that, where shop is packed with people and like they're breaking all the rules, it will close everyone. So one greedy individual can fuck it up for the whole industry in that country. So, like, you know, it's do you, but just respect the restrictions, respect the virus, and don't mess it up for everyone else, you know. That would be my take on the situation. Because like with that protest, you know, in your country, you had while you were locked down, like you had a partial lockdown, you had a protest. From next week, people talk that there's the overall lockdown again. So I don't think anyone wants it and needs it, and that's gonna be even harder. So on that happy note,
on that
stay
happy
positive.
Don't make suicide, please. We need you. We need you.
Please don't die, and smile.
Yeah, man, be creative, man. This is time for for being creative, and maybe there will be some other doors opening up for you just because of all this. Because I'm a good example that for me it showed new ways to learn new things, do maybe something that you wanted for a long time and you never had time. So I think use this time for your own benefits and
Expand your knowledge.
yeah.
Leave a comment.
That's my
Press a like. Subscribe to Carlos's channel.
yeah, subscribe me.
You can unsubscribe here, subscribe to him, and then come back and subscribe to you.